Before you start to record your video lesson or start to create an online lesson, you must plan what is going to be included in that lesson. And this is what we're going to look at in this video. So let's have a look. My name is Kat Sobello and I am a learning and development consultant, and I am here to help you be able to design, create and launch an online course. Subscribe to this channel and don't forget to hit the notification button so that each week you are notified of new videos that are uploaded so that you can finally launch your online course. So you have already created your curriculum. You've already created your online course outline, and this is what we've looked at in the last video from last week. We looked at how to turn your curriculum into a course outline, so check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. And if you haven't created your course curriculum, check out my other videos on curriculum design, and don't forget to download the template that helps you be able to build a course curriculum. That's what we're going to be looking at in this video. Regardless if you are creating a video lesson, or if you are creating a text lesson, or if you are creating an interactive lesson, regardless of the type of lesson, you need to turn that course outline into a lesson plan. So that course outline is a really high level overview of everything you plan your entire course to have. Now we're going to deep dive into a particular lesson and plan that out. So you may have remembered that this here is my course curriculum for my Agile course that I'm planning to build. Now in this Agile course curriculum, this is my course outline. I have the learning outcomes, I have the course curriculum, and now I have this outline where it's a running list of everything that I want to do that I'm still working on, but it's a running list of what I plan to do. Now in your lesson plan, we want to take one of these and we want to turn that into a lesson plan. So we want to delve deeper into a particular lesson. So for example, I have an outcome here that says understand the benefits of Agile project management in comparison to a waterfall project management. And the first objective is to define what Agile is. Then I also go into another objective of understand the benefits in comparison to waterfall. Now, these are two separate objectives that might be one huge lesson, or they might be individual lessons. Let's assume that it's going to be an individual lesson, and I'm going to turn this into my lesson plan. So let's have a look at what my lesson plan looks like. In lesson planning, what I want to be able to do is take that outcome we just looked at and take the objective and start to plan out my lesson. And so we're going to have a look at a template that I have, this template here, which is for lesson planning. You can call it storyboarding, you can call it lesson outlining, you can call it a video plan, whatever you want to call it. The objective is that you are planning out what your lesson is going to include. So in this, at the very top here, is where I want to start to type in all of that information from my curriculum. The outcome is to understand the benefits of Agile project management in comparison to waterfall project. And the objective of the lesson is understand the benefits in comparison to waterfall. Maybe my lesson name is Why Agile? We can look at this lesson name afterwards, but the purpose of this, the most important thing on this first page, is that I have taken my outcome and I've copied my objective or objectives for this particular lesson. So we spoke about this last week. Again, check out that video where we said that a lesson might have multiple objectives. We also can call this word competencies. So there might be multiple competencies for one lesson. Or you might have one lesson per competency. Or you might break the competency down further and have multiple lessons for one competency, because maybe it's so huge that you need to build the student up to be able to achieve the overall competency. I have added some questions in here that help us to move from this outcome and this competency into the next step here. So the questions are very simple. Ask yourself, what information does my student need to know to be able to reach the objective? And what skills do they need to have or need to practice to be able to reach that objective? Now, this is very important to understand who your students are and what their past experiences are. It's extremely important that you do that research while you are building your course. You do that in your market research, and you continuously collect this research about your learners each time you have new learners attending your course. Check out one of my other videos that talk about how you can collect that feedback. I'll put the link in the description below. So now I'm going to move down to step 2. To make that transition to step 2, I keep moving up and I keep looking at these, and I'll ask myself these questions as I move down, and then I would also confirm that I've answered these questions accurately. So just like in our course curriculum, where we're starting to go into a goal, learning outcome, and competencies, so that we can create this really great learning journey, I'm doing exactly the same here, where I'm doing a great lesson plan and I'm confirming that each part of my lesson plan are the building blocks that my students need to achieve this outcome. So the outcome is understand the benefits in comparison to waterfall. So what information does my student need? Well, they need to understand what a waterfall is and what agile is, a very high overview. So I then write in this step, I might say that this is sequence 1. Sequence 1 might be the first slide that someone sees. It might be the first information that they have on an interactive activity. It might be the first paragraph of text. It might be the first 5 minutes of your video. Whatever your content type is, there are sequences to them. Make sure that you have this in a logical sequence. So we have 1, 2, 3, however many you need. And then in here, I'm going to say, what is my multimedia? What is the student going to see? Okay, so this is the most important thing. What are they going to see? And I might say a flow chart of agile iterations, and they would see a graphic of waterfall. Okay, so I'm just saying, what are they going to see? I might also say they're just going to see my face. I'm just going to be talking. They're just going to see my face. They might see some things over the top. Maybe I'm going to use Prezi to present graphics over the top of my face. However it's going to be, we're going to say, what are they going to see? So right now, I know from my storyboard that I did before this video, I know that in this video, you're going to see my face. You're going to see the curriculum with my face in the top left-hand corner or your top right. And you're going to see this storyboard template as well. I know that you're also going to see my introduction graphics, and that there's going to be an outro graphic as well as some audio. So this is everything the student's physically going to see. And then the next thing is, what's the content? What are they going to hear? What are they going to read? So this is, what are the things that you're going to say? Now in this step as well, we can bullet point. Right, so these are all the points that I'm saying here. And then we have interactions or assessments. So this is when you're asking the student to do something. So you might ask them to click on a button to see more. You might ask them to take some notes. You might ask them to answer a question. You might ask them to write in the comments. And while we're speaking about that, if you do have anything that you would like to see demonstrated about online course creation, let me know in the comments below. So any type of those interactions that you want, make sure that you add them here so that when you're recording, you don't forget, or that when you're designing your text lesson or your interactive lesson, you know what that sequence is and how the student will move through your lesson. So once I've written this, I then go back up and I say, have I effectively answered this question? With this information that I've had, will my students be able to reach this objective? Have I given them sufficient time to practice, if they do need to practice, a particular skill? So we ask ourselves these questions before we write, and then once we've written this sequence out, we then go back up and confirm, have I answered these questions? Now, based on what your outline is, what your course curriculum is, you will see that we have 3 different categories. We have knowledge, skills, and abilities. And you would also see that my learning outcome, I'm looking at the first learning outcome, and I'm looking at the second competency, understand the benefits in comparison to waterfall. And this falls underneath knowledge. So in this section, I want my students to be able to attain knowledge, and I also want them to be able to comprehend what that means. But there's no opportunity, or there's no need for them to practice any skills or to build any abilities, because we're not looking at that yet. That's much later on in the course. In the very first beginning, it's just understanding and it's just comprehension. So the reason why I tell you this is that when we come back to ask ourselves these questions here, number 2 might not always be relevant, because you might not have a competency which requires the student to build a skill. Once you have this lesson ready, you're then ready to create your course. You're ready to create your video. You're ready to write out the text lesson that you have, whatever lesson that you're creating, whatever content type it is. Once you have defined what you're going to include in that course, in that particular lesson, then you're ready to start to create that lesson. Okay, that's everything for today. You have access to that course curriculum, and you can create the same template that I've created for storyboarding. You can build it however you wish. If you have any questions, or if you would like anything demonstrated, let me know in the comments below. I would love to take you on a journey of how I create this course and what the next steps are. So stay tuned for next week. Make sure that you do subscribe and hit the notification button so you are alerted when a new video has been uploaded about course creation. Until next week, happy course creating!